there is more video content. Like 80% of the internet is videos, and everybody can take very high quality videos. So videos are really try to capture everything from 3D back into 2D and 2D plus time. So, and with Rembrand, what we're trying to do was augmenting these videos with the branded content. So it's not, so we have to take that video, we have to understand or reverse engineer that video back to the 3D world.
I am here with Ahmed Saad, who is our Chief Technical Officer, Chief Technology Officer, Chief all kinds of officer for Rembrand. I've had the privilege now working with you for probably actually about 2 years or so. And I wanted to have this chance to sit down and just kind of talk with you and like some other people in the industry know a little bit more about you and your background. So thanks for joining me. So first, for the people who don't really know you, Ahmed, let's just talk a little bit about your background, because I think in the category of virtual product placement, you have a pretty unique background in that you've been doing this probably since it started at this point.
Yeah, sure. So as you mentioned, right now, CTO for Rembrand for the last maybe 2.5 years or so. Before that, I led Prime Video AI in Amazon Prime Video for about 4 years. Did work on a different initiative in video understanding and synthesis on a very like massive scale. And we'll definitely talk about that later, because we have that for different application, like for kind of like trust and safety first, like rating of different movies. And then we start taking that to kind of personalization, search, kind of flagship X-ray experience. So lots of great kind of minds in Amazon, and that was kind of shaping that industry. And then we did launch also the virtual product placement in Amazon Prime Video for like the professional content with Amazon Studios over there at that time. So that's kind of was Amazon. And then before that, I'm very fascinated with videos in general. So even if I'm not just a regular typical videos that you see in the film and movie industry, I had before that I was in the healthcare industry, just focusing on hearts, because hearts also is beating heart is a video too. That's how physicians diagnose patients. So it's also related to how we use computer vision and AI to analyze a heart. And then before that, my PhD in my academic background also in AI and computer vision, and was focusing on 3D and 4D analysis of brain and brain over time for different applications.
Got it. So you've mentioned a couple applications that are obviously wildly different than what Rembrand does. You're talking about brains, you're talking about hearts. What is the most interesting draw to the AI that Rembrand is building that you're overseeing? What is the challenge that you're overcoming that maybe people don't even realize is such a difficult challenge to overcome?
Yeah, I think that a lot of the common theme is the whole idea for a 4D signal, or like our world is 3D, like what you see right now, they are like the what we call world models and 3D models. So our world is 3D, and what's been done in the last maybe, I don't know, since the kind of film and movie industry started maybe 100 years ago. And then we start seeing like more cameras right now with phones and whatnot in the last maybe 15, 20 years. Like there is more video content, like 80% of the internet is videos, and everybody can take very high quality videos. So videos are really try to capture everything from 3D back into 2D and 2D plus time. So, and with Rembrand, what we're trying to do was augmenting these videos with the branded content. So it's not, so we have to take that video, we have to understand or reverse engineer that video back to the 3D world. And then, because we try to put something that was not there before, like imagine that there is like someone is standing in a podcast and they have like a table or they have a background, and then we try to put something in that background. Or if there is a scene with a kitchen and in a movie or something, and then you try to say, oh, this kitchen has like a bag of chips, which is very natural. Like you see that in day-to-day life, it doesn't appear weird. So how can we do that in a way that doesn't, and our mind ingrained to kind of understand physics. So if you see a bag of chips that's flying, that like your brain is gonna reject that. So we try to kind of understand the videos, but then we try to put more object in these videos in order to appear as if it was part of the original scenery. Super excited what we're doing also with the video generation, but we're not just to try to also generate videos from scratch. It's the whole idea that there is a lot of very creative folks that creating videos, whatever that's, again, like just taking videos on their own with their cameras, or these videos are professionally done with like in a very high quality in the movie industry, or we just kind of created by AI. But all of them can be augmented with more content to kind of make it more and more excited. How can we really make that as seamless and integrated, and is not really doesn't require and enable like anyone with no understanding of 3D or visual effects or with that technicalities of the background to really do that in a very streamlined fashion. That's what we really focus on in Rembrand, that enable, like on social media, especially when we've started, like any influencer on YouTube that try to kind of create good content. How can we really brand it with brand that you want to reach that without adding just more ad load on them? Just kind of try to put like a branded bag or a branded can and so on in their videos without really having a high quality visual effect experience.
So there's a couple of things in there I want to unpack. I want to dive into a little bit so people can understand. And I'll explain them from my point of view. You tell me if these are accurate and or how to sort of augment what I'm saying. So in a lot of the AI tools, if you think about VO and you think about some of the tools that are out there, you can type in, right? You can type in that you want to see a dog run across a room and you want to see the dog have a can of Coca-Cola on its back or a can of Pepsi on its back. And it will create that. And maybe it looks good, maybe it doesn't look good. That's one use case. But the other use case I think you were describing is where there's a piece of professional content of a dog. It could be Lassie walking through a room. And we actually want to be able to put a can of Coke and a can of Pepsi on holsters that Lassie is wearing when she walks across the room. And to do that with an established character or an established brand in a pre-existing video is more difficult than it is to go and generate something from scratch, right?
Exactly, because you don't want to mess with the fidelity of the existing scenery, right? So you want to make sure that you're not really impacting the fidelity of the object in that scene. You don't want to mess with the fidelity of that particular video. And when you put something in that world, it should not really, like the shadow, the interaction with the object in that environment, as if it was part of that particular world already. So you want to make sure that their depth, their occlusion, who's in front and who's in the back, and with time, like consistency is really key, because a lot of those videos are not just few seconds. Like we're dealing with really long videos. Like for example, podcasts might be 2 or 3 hours over YouTube, or you really have movies in Hollywood when it's like again hour and a half, or sometimes you even have season with 10 episodes. And these have multiple scenes with different settings, like the living room or the kitchen, and then you have multiple shots, which is like the same scene. And so how can you really maintain that consistency? It's a much harder problem. And how can you really make it so in a way that the user doesn't need to basically the AI become like really, I call it like the virtual product placement agent. And maybe next time we can actually show the software, or what we call the Rembrand AI Studio, and we can walk through how this can be done in a completely service fashion. But the key idea is anyone can do that without having also like a slot machine. As you mentioned, like you don't want to keep trying out so many different things, and that can get very frustrating, because we want it again to be very high quality. Like we really appreciate the creativity of folks creating those videos, and we really want to just to append that to allow them to monetize this content even more without being really like a whole lot of work to be done in order to monetize this content further.
Yeah. And I think what you're describing, the ability to make that consistency of the augmentation from multiple shots, longer form content, multiple episodes of a program, etc., or maybe they're always going back to that same location, that product needs to be in that location, whether it's an actual product like a can or it's an outdoor sign in a scene. Like, it needs to be consistent. But you're also talking about the ability to enable publishers and brands to work together in such a way that they can replicate that over time. You can swap out different products if you want to do this in a programmatic go-to-market. All those things need to be done at a really, really fast pace in order to be able to scale so that the advertising industry as a whole can take advantage of this. I think in that element is something that's even more important than just talking about the ability for the AI to be consistent and to not hallucinate and to not to create things that look weird, but to be able to do this in a very, very small amount of time at a massive scale so the entire industry can do this across all the video. Like you just said, the 80% of the internet, that's video, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of definitely, you brought a very, very good point. So we talked a lot about the creation of the video, but let us talk about also from the brand perspective. So we talked about like the supply aspect, which is like really whoever is creating that content and try to monetize. From the brand perspective, there are so many different requirements or to try to satisfy. So first, we need to maintain the fidelity of the product. So if you have a lipstick or a perfume bottle or like a can, it needs to look perfect. It cannot really, you cannot miss the fine details on the perfume bottle, or you cannot, the reflection on the lipstick cannot really be bad. It's a product photography. It needs to look perfect, but also look perfect in that particular scene when the lighting is not really, can be arbitrary because you don't really control. So it's really around our AI really try to nail the creativity plus the control, because you really need to control because you already have an existing video, but then you need also that creativity and put them together. But as you mentioned, advertising or the ad industry or the ad tech industry scaled the programmatic aspect for a very long time. So we don't want to create, that was also one of the motivation when we started Rembrand. Like, how can we really make the virtual product placement really scaled as a mid-roll, like scaled as any other video experience that you see in advertising, because advertising driving the internet from a volume and also from monetization, but they cannot accept any friction. Like any friction will destroy any experience. So we really wanted to make sure that now with the virtual product placement, can Corey see Coca-Cola and Ahmed see Pepsi? Different countries can see different products. Can we start doing this type of audience targeting? How can you integrate that with the whole ecosystem, with the streaming industry for the video on demand, with the DSPs when you try to kind of maximize the demand? How can you really, and the core of that is that you really need to separate the supply from the demand. So when we analyze the content at scale, we really identify what we call the VBB ad unit. We really identify what is the best place for which brand and also safer. So that kind of how our kind of supply agent can go and analyze all of the content and know what will fit in that scene without actually impacting the script and that need, as you mentioned, in a very, very quick, because when you have a bidding, so you try to kind of have multiple brands try to bid in that, and this is where our integration with like Trade Desk or integration with Amagi when we do the server-side ad insertion. So we have to kind of connect with the ecosystem integration with SpringServe and Magnite. So how can we really, so it's not really just an AI from a technology perspective. It's really taking that AI and becomes useful. Like you're seeing a lot in the news right now, like there was like this recent report from MIT about like the question the value for AI in enterprise. Like we want to go beyond like POCs or demos. Like we really wanted to value, and that's what we start, like since we started Rembrand, like how can we get value for the content creator and the brands they want with something that is working? Like, I mean, you cannot really have something that is just a slot machine that works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't. We really have to maximize the chance that this will work. Like, yeah, almost 100% of the time. We cannot say that 100%, but I mean, like most of the time, it needs to work very reliably and provide like really kind of top experience for the brands and the content creator.
Now, I know that I want to go one level back up again. We've been talking about there's different types of AI inside the confines of Rembrand. You talked a little bit about the scene dynamics element, especially in the past. And I keep hearing us talking about this concept of controllable diffusion. Can you explain a little bit about how that is a model that's relatively unique to what we're building versus maybe what other companies do with their diffusion models?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So if you look at that from a very high level, like if you have an existing video and you try to reverse engineer that video in order to start augmenting that. So that kind of a video editing. So you try to take that video and try to edit that content. So one of the things that, like, as I mentioned, like there is a 3D product that you try to put, or maybe you don't have a 3D product, you just have a 2D product. You need to have an agent that interact with multiple model at the same time, because you need, since you get access to the video, you need to understand how many shots do you have. What is the shot? Basically is the camera. Like every time the camera change, like imagine you're watching a video, you see like a shot with a kitchen, and then you start zooming in on like a face of an actor or actress, and then it zoom out, and then it move into a living room, and then few seconds comes back to the kitchen. It's a story, like someone is telling a story. You need our AI to understand that story from that existing movie. So that's one component. And then there is another model that try to say, I understand the brand. So we already have a lot of data around the brand and their creatives and their guidelines and what's safety for that brand and what are they trying to do for this campaign. So that's all their creative aspect. And then we try to do the actual placement, which is really, in some content, it just to become extremely photorealistic. So this might be like in a TV in the background, and you try to just change the TV to show a certain brand, which is naturally, you can see that and you don't feel that that's weird. Or an organic product like 3D, like as we talked about, like a can on a table or a bag while you're kind of discussing with someone and so on. But in some cases, like on social media, influencer might do some sort of an animation in order to draw attention. So they might be very creative also with what they want. So they might mix reality with creativity. So these are not all like one single model. It's an agent that kind of connect to multiple models to try to kind of get that job done and try to get that 3D and understanding and the placement all connected together in order to get that uniquely done. And again, like we don't have to get that all done in one shot. For example, if you try to kind of make sure that any shake in the camera is going to cause problems, you try to get the camera kind of what you call like the camera pose estimation. Like we need to get like, what was the camera there? Maybe there was more than one camera that's shooting that particular scene. Where was it? Like what about the lighting? What about the shadow? What about the reflection? So some of these are different models, and that's the beauty about the agent. Like how can these models connect to each other to get to that final quality result that we want? But then also we have a little bit of subjectivity in terms of maybe there is a little bit of blur, but the brand wanted this with the agreement of the content owner to kind of make it a little bit more brighter. So you try to override reality. So that is what we call, it's try to have the control. And then the diffusion is try to kind of, we're basically try to get into the diffusion models and fine tune them for our use cases. Because again, for our customers and our data, it is different for just, as you mentioned, like a generic type of, I just kind of try to create a video from scratch. We really try to take a very high quality product, insert it into that video and remain consistent over a very long time. So that's kind of really, and again, you might start adding some animations and so on to that particular object. So that's what we call, and we have multiple patents in that space.
Well, Ahmed, we're going to have a lot more questions for you. And I do think that the next time we do this, we're going to do a demo. But we'll take a break now. There's a lot of stuff for people here to understand and to digest. But thank you for taking the time.
Thanks, Corey.